So inshallah we'll do two ayats of Surah Al-Baqarah today. Ayat number 181 and 182. We did last time 180, and that was about the will, the wasiyah. And these two ayats are the continuation of the previous ayat. So we'll do a simple translation first, inshallah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. فَمَنْ بَدَّلَهُ بَعْدَ مَا سَمِعَهُ. So what is being said here, that if a person who is about to die and then he makes some will, some wasiyat, and he informs some other people that this is my wasiyat, this is my will, and after my death, that is how the wealth should be divided. So the person who is hearing that will from the person who is dying, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that فَمَنْ بَدَّلَهُ, so whoever changes it, okay, so whatever he heard, whatever he was told, he changed it after that. بَعْدَ مَا سَمِعَهُ, after that what he heard, what he was told by the dying person about the will, if he changed something in that. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَإِنَّمَا إِثْمُهُ, so his sin is on him, upon him, of changing the will, the words of the will or wasiyat. عَلَى الَّذِينَ, it's upon those people, يُبَدِّلُونَهُ, those who will change it. Okay? Allah says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ سَمِيعٌ عَلِيمٌ, indeed, surely, Allah is the one who hears, and He is the one who knows. So if someone tries to change the words of the will or the wasiyat, he should know that Allah hears and Allah knows all that one. So the sin of doing that will be upon the person who is making the changes. So that's the ayat number 181. Then the second ayat, which is number 82, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is again talking about the will or the wasiyat by the person who is dying. Okay, now this is the time. The ayat is about the person who is dying and he is doing a will. And he is telling the other people how his wealth should be divided. Now, if this person who has this wealth, if he is unfair means if he says big amount or a lot of it goes to one person and somebody else in the family or children should not get anything. So that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about that person. فَمَنْ خَافَ, so whosoever fears, مِن مُوسٍ, from the person who is making the will, the person who is going to die, and he fears that this person is going to make a wrong will, a wrong wasiyat. He is going to give wealth unjustly to his people who are going to be left behind. So Allah says that whoever, someone who has fear, some other relative or someone who fears that this person is doing the wrong will. So what is he supposed to do? If he has the fear of janafan aw ithman, that this person is doing unjust division or he is committing some sin. So in that case, what will happen? The people who are going to be left behind after this person dies, they will have a fight among themselves. They will be, because if he gives all the wealth to one son or one daughter and doesn't give anything to other son or daughter, then there will be a problem in the family. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that فَأَصْلَحَ بَيْنَهُمْ, so make sulha between them. Okay? Make peace between them. So here is a permission is given that they do divide justly the wealth of the person who has done unjust, but when the time comes to divide, be just. Do a sulha, do a peace, okay, between them, between the people who are going to inherit the wealth. So Allah says, if you do that, فَلَا إِثْمَ عَلَيْهِ, so there is no sin upon that person. Inna Allaha Ghafurur Rahim. Indeed, Allah is Ghafur, the one who forgives, and Rahim, the one who has mercy. Now also keep in mind that these ayats were revealed earlier, where the permission was given to the person who is dying that he can do the wasiyat, he can write the will. But later on, this was changed. Okay? And the person who is dying now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already divided his wealth among the family members. Okay? So this is, as we said last time, that ayat number 180 was ayat al-Nasakh, which means the ayat stays in the Quran, but its order has been changed. So the order in this ayat has been changed to the new rules which came after this. Okay? So now let's try to understand this in detail. So the first word is faman baddalahu. Okay? So it says fa means then, and man means whoever. So after the person who has done the wasiyat, or he has described his will, after he dies and someone else comes in the family who heard the will, so this is about that person. So whoever person. Next word is baddalahu. So ba, dal and lam, badala, and if you put a shadda on the middle letter, it is baddala. Baddala means to change. Okay? Baddala means to change. Okay? And if you write it this way, baddala means he changed. Whoever changed. Okay? So here, man baddala, whoever changed. Okay? And the word after that is who. Who. Who means it. Okay? And it is pointing to the will, the wasiyat. Okay? So whoever changed the wasiyat, the will of the person who died. Okay? He told him to divide the wealth in a certain way, and this person to do some favor to some family members, he changed it on his own. Okay? So that is this thing. The it means the will. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that so whoever or then whoever ever changed it, change the will, okay, the wasiyat, okay. Ba'da means after, okay. These are simple word. Ba'da means after, and ma means that, after that, or after that which, okay. Then the next word is sami'ahu. Okay? So the root letters are Sin, Mim, Ain. Sami'a. Sami'a means to hear. Okay? And if I combine these, Sami'a, he heard. The past tense of third person. And this is the word we say all the time. Sami Allah. Sami Allahu liman hamida. When we are standing, Sami Allah means Allah has heard. When we are standing up from the ruku, we say Sami Allah. Allah has heard. Okay? So this is the word Sami'a. Now, the word after that is who, and hu means it again. Okay. So sami'ahu, he heard it. Again, he heard the will. Whatever the will or the wasiyat he heard from some person who was dying, if he tried to change it after that. Okay, so this is what is sami'ahu. He heard it. Whoever did that kind of thing, that he heard the will and then he decided that he should try to change it. Okay, that's about that person Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking here. So what happens to such a person? Is fa'innama. So what is the meaning? Fa means then, and innama means only. Then only. Okay. Then only, and the word after that is ithmun. Ismun means sin. Ithmun means sin. Okay. And if we put again who, which means it. Okay. So when we combine ithmun and who, this is combined, spoken as ismuhu. Ithmuhu means its sin. Okay. Ismun means sin and who means it or this. So combining two dhammas will become one dhamma when you combine, so it becomes ithmuhu, its sin. The sin of what? Sin of changing. Sin of changing the will is ithmuhu. Its sin. And innama means only. Then its sin is only upon the person who is changing, not other people. Okay? The one who is going to unjustly change, cheating, trying to change what the dying person said, if he tried to change any of that, so Allah says that it's the sin of that changing will be only upon that person who will change it, not other people. Because if someone changed it and then one person got more wealth than the other person, then the one who got the wealth, he is not responsible for that. The one who has changed and cheated, that person will take all the sin. Okay? He will be responsible, sin will be upon him. So that is what is only means. So only. The sin of this action of changing the wasiyat, changing the will after the person has died, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says the sin will be only upon that person. Now further explain, alalladhina yubaddilunahu. So let's look at those words. Okay, so word ala means upon. Okay. Now the other word is alladhi. Alladhi means he, one person. Alladhi means he or one person. Its plural is alladhina. Alladhina means those. It's a plural of he. It is those. Okay. So Allah and allazina, two separate words, upon those. Okay, when you read it, will be ala allazina will be read together, ala allazina, upon those people. Okay, the sin of its changing will only be upon those people. The sin will go only to those people who are changing it. Okay, so that is the meaning of alal lazina, upon those. Upon those. Okay. And now the word is, again we know the word we just learned, baddala means to change. Okay. And if we put a ya in the beginning and vuna at the end, ya in the beginning and vuna at the end. Okay, so this vuna is for the plural and ya is for third person and present tense. Okay. So yubaddiluna is the word. You put a dhamma here and it will become yubaddiluna. Yubaddiluna means they change. Third person is they, one plural is they, and change is present tense. So yubaddiluna means they change. Okay? So yubaddiluna, they change. And who means it again. It keeps coming the same way. And it is pointing to the wasiyat, the will. So Allah says that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that the sin will be only, in nama means only, upon those people who will change the will, who will change the inheritance or wasiyat or anything that was told to them. If they try to change and do the favor and instead of what was told by the person who was dying, he decided to change it after that, then Allah says that the sin of this change or this action will be upon those people only who will change the wasiyat, who will change the will. Okay? Not the ones who are getting the distribution, but the one who is changing it. Okay? Only is specifying that. Only those who change it. Okay? So it's very important for the person, whatever he was told by the person when he was dying, that he should exactly divide the wealth as he was told by the person. And if he changed anything, then its sin will be only upon him. Okay, so that's the meaning of that. Okay? And then the word after that is innallaha. Okay, so the word is Allahu. Allahu, and the word before that is inna, and inna means surely. Okay? Inna means surely. So surely Allah. So inna what it does when a noun comes after that, it changes the last dhamma into a fataha. So this word becomes innallaha. Okay, you do not pronounce the word alif in between. So it is innallaha, surely Allah. Okay. Okay. And then again the two sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Sin, Mim and Ain, and An, Lam and Mim. Okay. This means to hear and this means to know. Okay. So from this word is Sami'un, and this one is Alimun. Okay. Sami'un, the one who hears everything, and Alimun, the one who knows everything. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that make sure that you know that Allah is the one who is hearing everything. He is also hearing what the person who was dying was saying. So if someone who tried to change, you're not the final hearer. There is someone else who is hearing that. He knows that. He is Alim and he is Sami. He knows and he hears. Okay? So whatever wrong is being done, the person will have to be responsible for that. His sin will be upon the one who is going to change it. Okay? So that is Sami'un Alim. He hears and knows. Okay? Everything. Okay? So in this ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants people to know that they are not allowed to change anything in the wasiyat, in the will of a dying person, because if they hear, they have to convey what they heard exactly and divide the wealth accordingly or the inheritance accordingly. Okay? So this is the person who hears and does something. The next ayat, which is number 82, is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving a warning to the person who himself is dying, that he should not leave his wealth behind and do a division unjustly. So that is about the person who is dying. Musin is from the word wasiya. Musin is a person who is dying and doing the wasiya. That is the word of Musin. Okay? Let's look at this ayat. So here the first word is faman again. Then whoever. Okay? Same thing. And the other word is ha, waw and fa. This means to fear. Khawf is a fear. Okay? And if we put a fatha on each of them, this meaning becomes he feared. Third person feared. Okay? And this waw with fatha on it is sound like alif, so this will become khafa. Okay? Khafa, the meaning is same. Okay? So faman khafa, so whoever feared. Okay? So now this is the person who is listening now. the words of the person who is dying. Okay? So now this person feels or has this fear that the person who is giving me the will, he is not fair himself. He is not doing justice. He is not giving the right wealth to the right people. Okay? So that is the fear of the person. This person is now an honest person. He is listening to the dying person, and this is person who has fear of Allah and who is honest person, but he fears that the words which are coming out of the person who is dying, that give my wealth to this person, to this person, to this child, and he is being unfair in that one. He is being unjust in that. This is the fear of the person who is listening. So this ayat is about him. The word is mim musin. So musin is from, this is the person who is making the will. This is the person who is doing the wasiyat. So musin is the wasiyat doing person who is writing the will, who is giving the will, who is telling how his wealth should be divided. That person, the dying person, is called musin. Was from wasiyat. Okay? So mim musin means from the person who is doing will. Person who is doing will. And this is the dying person. Okay? That's musin. Then after the word, there are two words after that. Is that one is jim, noon and fa, and other word is alif, sa and mim. So from this means to be unjust. To be unjust. And this means to do sin. Okay, these are the two words. To be unjust is jim, noon and fa, and alif, thin and mim means to do sin, to commit some sin. Okay? So from this word, first one, if we make a word as janafun. Janafun means injustice. Na-insafi. Okay? And ithmun means sin. Ismun means sin. So injustice and sin. Okay? So original words have two dhammas and they are pronounced as janafun and ithmun. Okay? So now both of these words are coming after the word khafa, which is a verb. And these two are noun. So when the noun come after the verb, what happens? The two dhammas change into two fathas. That's the rule of the grammar. Okay? And whenever you write two fathas, you have to write an extra alif. Okay? Two fathas are always written with one alif extra, just for writing purpose. So the word is now janafan, which is the same word as in the Quran here, and ithman. Okay? So, if a person who is hearing and he fears that the person who is dying, he is being unjust and he is committing sin. If he notices that, so ayat is about that situation. Okay, so this means of unjust, and ithman means sin. Okay, and aw means or. So if the person feels that the person who is dying is not being fair, he is not being honest, and also he is committing a sin by not giving the wealth correctly. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَأَصْلَحَ بَيْنَهُمْ. Okay, so let's understand this thing. So what happens that up to this point, this person who was doing the will, he died. Okay? And the person who heard, he knows that the division was not done properly. The justice was not done in the wealth. So what will happen? Now the problem will start in the family members, because one child did not get anything and the other child got everything. Okay? So the division will start, the conflict will start. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here says, فَأَصْلَحَ بَيْنَهُ. Okay, so let's look at these words, what happened there. Okay. So first word is bain. Bainun means between. And whom means them. Okay. So when you combine this, it will be bainahum, between them. Between the family members. Between them. Okay, between the family members or whoever are they are, in the family. Bainahum, between them. Okay. Now the root letters is Swad, Lam and Ha. Okay. And if I put an alif, it becomes Aslaha. This means make peace. Sulah karana. Okay. Aslaha means to make peace between two parties. Islah or aslaha. Sulha, these are the words commonly used. Sulha means to make peace between two groups. So aslaha, these are the root letters, and if I put fatah on each of them, aslaha means he made peace. And this he is the person who heard the will. So Allah says that if he made peace between them, okay, if this person who, if he had come and told them, look, this child didn't get anything, your father told that this child gets everything. Okay? So he heard that from the dying person. So, but now what he's doing, he wants to do a sulha. They want to do a peace between the family members. So this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying. فَأَصْلَحَ بَيْنَهُمْ. So he made peace between them. Okay? So fa means so. Aslaha, he made peace.
Does it make that he can redistribute the wealth?
I think this is what this message is, even though it's not very clear here. How is he going to do? But the message, because it doesn't say after that how. Okay? But he has to use basically his own judgment. So sulha can be made. However way the conflict and the fighting doesn't happen in the family, or because of the unjust division spoken by the person who was dying. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given this person this option that go and do sulha. So obviously it sounds from the in between that he will have to do his own judgment to divide the wealth. So that is what Allah. So now the next few words are pointing to something, okay, which is Fala ithma alayhi. Okay, so fa means so, la means not, ithma is again we say sin, isma, the word, actual word was ismun, we just learned the one word was ithmun, but whenever a la comes before a noun, okay, for example, you have the word Allahu, okay, and la comes before that. We pronounce la, ilah. So Allahu, actually take the example of ilahun first. Ilahun. Ilahun means God, a God, okay. When we put before this la, we pronounce la ilaha. Okay, so what la does? La changes these two dhammas into a fatah. Because we pronounce this as la ilaha. The original word is lahun. Okay, but this is the characteristic of la, that two dhammas changes into one fatah. So ilahun becomes ilaha. Okay, two dhammas here, ismun, will change into one fatah, just like that. So this becomes la ithma. La ithma means no sin. Okay. So there is no sin or not sin. Okay, and Allah, upon, and who means him. So when you combine these are pronounced as alayhi, upon him. So there is no sin upon him. Now in a normal situation, it sounds from this description that in a normal situation, if someone in the previous ayat tried to change the will, then Allah says that sin is upon that person. But here, if that person is changing the will, why? Because he thinks that the will was not just, honest. Then Allah says, now there is no sin upon him. In the previous ayat, there will be a sin if he did that. But under the situation now, that the person who is dying, he himself has done something wrong, and this person is trying to fix it, who heard him. Then Allah says there is no sin upon him. There is no sin if he is trying to adjust the amount or distribution. Okay. Why? Because he wants to do a sulh. He wants to do a justice. He wants to keep the family together. Okay. So that is what Fala isma alayhi. So there is no sin upon him. So no sin upon him. Okay. Now also notice that the two sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala which come in this ayat are Ghafoor and Rahim. Okay? And they fit the situation because this person, he is now changing the will. Okay? But he is not doing to do any unjust benefit. He is trying to make peace. So Allah says that even if you are doing something like this, Allah is Ghafoor. He will forgive. Okay? And He is merciful. So Ghafoor is the one who will... in the previous ayat, Sami and Alim came because there was the situation of hearing. So He says, if you hear something and you change, Allah can hear also that. Okay? Here, Allah says that if you are doing a sin to make the peace, then Allah will forgive that sin. There is no sin, even though you are changing the will here. but there is no sin because Allah is Ghafoor or Rahim. So Allah is indeed or surely Allah is forgiving. Ghafoor means forgiven and Rahim means merciful. So Allah will show His mercy, His kindness, and Allah will forgive if a situation comes like that. So these were the ayats. These were 3 ayats about the inheritance and wasiyah. Okay, and whatever commands and orders were given in these ayats do not apply because later on more ayats were revealed. And in those ayats, as I mentioned, the division was decided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That this person will get this much in family and that person will get that percentage in family. In Surah An-Nisa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given the details of that. So now, the person who is dying has no authority to divide anymore. And if that situation is not there, then there is no need for anyone to come forward and try to adjust the things. So these are the 3 ayats that were revealed in the early time when the other laws of inheritance were not revealed. Okay? So that's the reason these are ayat-e-naskh. These ayat is stayed in the Quran, but its order does not apply anymore. Okay? So inshallah we'll stop at this point.